Yeah, exactly. And I think that they have all the pieces to do so. In that, they added one more. Marcus Golden comes in here, 32-year-old edge rusher out of the Arizona Cardinals. Again, we're going to talk to an unknown name in 10 minutes or so
Yeah.
to end the episode about Marcus Golden and somebody else that I think the Steelers could target from the Arizona Cardinals. Golden comes in here, kind of a down year last season, 2.5 sacks, 11 sacks the year before coming off the bench, which I think is significant. He started all year last year. Obviously, Chandler Jones wasn't there. There weren't the names. The Arizona Cardinals stunk, so that's always tough to do. The year before, 11 sacks off the bench when it's Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt in front of you, which again, I think that's something to pay attention to. That's not something to ignore. He comes in here to work behind T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith. Do you expect good things? Did you look at this? Were you impressed by the signing?
Well, when I first saw the signing, I was kind of like, whatever, this is just some
Yeah,
depth. This is like whatever. This is a we'll see if it works out thing. I don't know. I'm much more optimistic after kind of looking through the stats and doing a little bit of digging into Marcus Golden. I think, like you said, coming off the bench and getting 11 sacks, that's a little ridiculous. Like double-digit sacks
it's
off the
impressive.
bench is right, and he's going to be in a similar situation with Alex Highsmith and T.J. Watt taking up a lot of attention, and also
Mm-hmm.
Cam Hayward. Like he's going to get limited snaps, but he'll have good opportunities in those limited snaps. You kind of wonder how many snaps there are to go around for those kind of reserve defensive linemen because, like I said, like T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith have to be on the field. But
Yeah,
it's I'm much more interested than I was maybe a day ago, or whenever the news actually first came out.
yeah. So 2 years ago, he played 67% of the team's defensive snaps, which that's a lot. I don't think you're going to get.
Mhm.
He played 682 snaps in 2021. I don't think he's going to get that in Pittsburgh. But 11 sacks and 682 reps. The year after, 781 reps, and his production went down. So he clearly doesn't need he doesn't need all the reps to be productive. As long as he's on the field, he can make some noise, which I think is significant, something that you were looking for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think really overall, it's like an option that if it works out, great. If Nick Herbig shows that he's just an absolute monster, cool. Like
Mhm.
the Steelers have no pressure to say, hey, you're not the guy.
Mhm.
Sorry. Like you're now the fourth. Kind of different, I would say, than Bud Dupree. Like when Bud Dupree was coming here, it was like, this is Bud Dupree. He's the third guy. You're not going to pass up Bud Dupree as the third guy. Now I kind of look at it like it's just like he's a tryout guy too. Like he's not coming in here. If he was coming off 11 sacks last year and was like the dude in Arizona, you come into Pittsburgh and you're like, oh, okay, like this guy's not going anywhere. But 2.5 sacks, 32 years old, you're kind of just wondering like, okay, does he have enough left in the tank? I think he does. I think that he could put up good numbers, and like there are other things too. Like, he had, what was it, 20 quarterback hits last season. So he clearly got back there. His pressure rate was higher than it was the year before. He's done good things. I think that he's kind of the perfect option without really any pressure. Marcus Golden signs a 1-year deal with Pittsburgh, comes from Arizona. Last year, I want to say a bit of a down year. I didn't really watch his tape, obviously, but he's 11 sacks 2 years ago, 2.5 sacks this past season. What are the Steelers getting? Are they getting a guy that's on, the end of his career, kind of coming down, or is there an 11 sack season still left in this guy?
Yeah, if before we even talk about the stats, I want to bring up something that I texted you whenever he first had that tryout with the Steelers. I'm like, bro, if
Mm-hmm.
he lands with Pittsburgh, you are going to love Marcus Golden. I just mean you as a media member and the fans as well, because the energy he brings every single day. His nickname is Junk because he's just a junkyard dog on the field. Like
What a name.
he loves the game of football, and I think that's like a perfect Steeler ad. Like Marcus Golden is a Steeler, right? If he's not going to be in Arizona with the Cardinals, I couldn't handpick a better organization for him to go to. So, I mean, the dude loves football, which you go a very, very long way for people in Pittsburgh. When you bring up the numbers, right? Obviously, the 11 sacks in 2021,
Yeah.
certainly a down year to the 4 sacks I think that he had in 2022. You also have to kind of take that with a grain of salt. In 2021, he had Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt with him along the defensive front seven. And if you go back and you watch, a lot of the sacks that Marcus Golden got were a lot of like free runs, right? Just because the offensive line was so content and focused on getting guys like JJ Watt and Chandler Jones blocked. So maybe he benefited a little bit more from that in 2021. I do want to say though, last year, even though the sack production dropped, he did have more quarterback hits and quarterback pressures in total than he did in 2021. So like sacks sometimes can be a wonky stat. I don't think it should be the end all be all whenever it comes to getting like a pass rusher and evaluating them. He was still getting after the quarterback last year. He just didn't have the golden standard of production that people look for.
So that's good to know. It's good to know that he could be a reliable option. I want to say, is it off the bench? Last year, what did he start? He started 15 of the 17 games, I believe, 14 of 17 games. Isn't he an off the bench kind of guy? Like, is he, like there's certain guys. Benny Snell Jr. is always the one that comes to mind for me, where if you put him in for a whole game, he's going to have a good stat line. If you put him in for a couple of runs here and there, he's not going to have a good stat line. He needs that bulk of carry, that production to reach wherever he's trying to get to on the field. Is Golden the same way? Can you plug him in for 20 snaps a game? Be reliable?
No, absolutely. And I think last year he played 100 more snaps than he did in 2021. Right.
Yeah.
But the production obviously wasn't there for whatever reason. So I think the more snaps on top of like him rushing the passer opposite of 2 third-round picks the Cardinals had drafted last year didn't really set himself up for success. But in Pittsburgh, right, he's going to be either on the opposite end of TJ Watt or Alex Highsmith. I mean, those are two of the best. You can make an argument that he's the best, the best pass rush duo in the league right there in the back. And for him to be that third rotational piece, I think it's going to do him wonders, because obviously he's 32. He's not on the right side of 30, but in a very limited role. And you're asking him, hey, man, preserve your body. You're going to get out there 15, 20 snaps a game. I think you're going to get really great things out of Marcus Golden.
All right, last thing on Marcus Golden I got for you. Leadership-wise, talked about how awesome this guy is, how much he's just like a football junkie. Greatest nickname. Second, possibly passed up Monty the Mullet,
bro, for
the best nickname, Junk. It's hard to beat Junk. It's very, very hard to beat Junk. Is he the type of guy to, I don't even want to say is he the type of guy, his leadership standpoint, Nick Herbig's here. He's going to lean on all these guys. 32-year-old, he immediately steps in as the veteran in the room, high class guy when it comes to that aspect of the game.
Yeah, I think he'll come in. The biggest thing I think of whenever I think of Marcus Golden is the charisma. Like, that dude never did not have a smile on his face. Like, he was always cracking jokes. He was always like having players gravitate towards him in the locker room. And we talk about so many people, whether it be Pittsburgh and Arizona, who just are bad locker room guys. Marcus Golden is the exact opposite. I think he'll easily come in. I don't want to say he's going to take the reins of leadership away from anybody, but he's going to bring his own positive vibrations and his own kind of leadership aspect to that locker room.
Okay, I love that. Positive vibrations out of good old Junk, Marcus Junk Golden. That's it's my guy. I'm excited for him to get here. He wasn't in Pittsburgh today. I would imagine he shows up next week to OTAs at some point. Get a first look at him. He's going to enter the mix immediately and be looked at as the veteran behind TJ and Alex Highsmith. Exciting stuff.